My name is Nigel Beaham Powell. I've been writing music for television and films for over 25 years with my business partner Bella Russell. We were originally in a band together and we slipped almost by accident into writing music for television and film.
We were struggling as a band, as many bands do. We had a couple of records out, we had quite a lot of exposure, but we weren't making any money. And the BBC were looking for a band to write the music for a programme after Top of the Pops, which is probably something that won't mean anything to the younger members of this audience, but the older people here will get it. So this was, Top of the Pops was basically a pop show, and at 8 o'clock they wanted to run a half-hour slot, which was a wildlife series, and they didn't want to go to any traditional composers, they wanted to get a band to do it.
Starting, there are many different ways to do this. First of all, have a look at the pictures, try and work out what the director and the producer might want.
I would suggest that whenever you are writing music, when you're even for this particular project, Filmscore, it's no bad thing to involve somebody else. Many of the successful people in television and film at the moment are actually writing teams.
That's the first and important thing. With my experience, or rather in my experience, it's quite useful to have some reference tracks. So, for example, if you'd come to me and said, as a director, I really like this track by Massive Attack called Teardrop, and I would like something like that to go with my pictures, I'd have a very clear idea straight away what you wanted. Whereas if you were a director and came along and said, I really like Vivaldi's type of music, that's a very different set of parameters, so you wouldn't try and do the teardrop version for somebody who wanted the Vivaldi, nor would you provide a Vivaldi track for somebody who wanted something like Massive Attack's Teardrop.
This is a tale of how we didn't follow the rules for this particular thing. We've done a lot of wildlife programmes for the Natural History Unit, which some of you may know is in Bristol. And there was a big series on Africa. There is always a big series on Africa. There have always been series on Africa ever since 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s. There's a lot of filming that's done in Africa. And particularly when American money gets involved, the tendency is for the composer to get safer and safer and safer so that it appeals to a wider and wider audience. And there is no doubt that producers at the top of the tree prefer the velvet chair to anything a bit more uncomfortable to sit on. So Nick's point, very interesting point about the score to Silence of the Lambs, is that simply would not get done in television today. It would not be written because people want to have something that they're very familiar with, which is why the velvet chair concept is often what people want. Anyway, we were fed up with doing the idea of Dolce. So I said to Belle, let's just we're not going to get this gig because they're going to go for a big orchestra, they're going to do it in the States. It'll be one of the 2 or 3 people who will do it. It'll be George Fenton. It was George Fenton who actually did the gig in the end. So I said, why don't we just make a bit of art? So does anybody know Gary Newman? Okay, so Gary Newman, so Subway Army, all sorts of things, very interesting music maker. And he's got a track which I haven't actually brought. We won't talk about it right now, which is this very, very, very dark track. And we were given a fairly standard piece of film to write the music for. So you've got to imagine this piece of film, and you won't find it very hard because you've already seen it many times. There's a bunch of wildebeest on one side of the river, there's a whole bunch of crocodiles in the river, and there's the promised land on the other side, provided you can get over the river. So that bit of footage has been seen an awful lot by lots of different people, and it was a piece of footage that we were given. I think there were about 3 or 4 composers who were asked to pitch this. And I just said, let's just do something really different. So we had this sort of standard starting bit, which was quite sort of moody. And then at the first moment that the crocodile comes out of the water and latches its teeth around the jaw, around the neck of the wildebeest, or whatever it was going, we had this enormous guitar sound come in. And it was we just found some music that Gary Newman had done, and we used it just to make this effect. And so we created an interesting piece of art. The head of the Natural History Unit came to hear what we'd done. We played it to him, and he said, that is absolutely brilliant. We'll never get it past the Americans. So this is something you have to realise, is that you're not making a piece of art.
So you need as much information as you can to start with. Obviously for Filmscore, because it's a blank canvas in the sense that you can do just about anything, it's a sort of art project really for would-be young composers. So you can actually indulge yourself and write the kind of music you would really like to write for the pictures.
So we did 450 projects over 25 years. That included 85 dramas for BBC and ITV. We did a whole raft of documentaries, and we also did a whole bunch of ads.
It's a great opportunity for young people to come to grips with all the rather complicated stuff that's around writing music for picture, where often less is much better than more.
So I want to talk about the thing that people often say here is the music any good? And the answer is, you will never know when you're actually writing it.
And that's one of the first things that you come to grips with when you start writing music, is you tend to put the kitchen sink in to start with, and then the director and the producer will turn around and say, could we have a bit less going on? So that's quite an important thing to be thinking about with your first project.
What I would say is that if people pay for it, it's good. And I would say that the way you know your music is any good is when other people in your peer group actually want to give you an award. So if you win an Ivor or you win some of the music awards, and I think we won about 7 of those, that's your peers who are judging you.
Literally try and make sure you throw everything at it, and in this sort of sporting analogy, don't leave anything off the pitch. Make sure you do it as best you can, don't be shoddy, and have a real go at it and think it through, and then in the end be very pleased with what you've done.